Well, not only can he help fix your teeth, but he's also working to help fix this shortage, this shortfall that we're seeing with these protective masks, specifically, and not just here in Montana, but across the country, for our healthcare workers that are in the front lines now with this coronavirus pandemic. Dr. Spencer Zaugg now with us here on Montana Talks. Doctor, great to have you. Thanks for calling in this morning.
Yeah, good to be with you.
Yeah, so I guess you and your son, and then you've got a friend, Dr. Dusty Richardson. You guys have all kind of, what are you, self-described tinkerers? Is that how this whole thing started?
Well, yeah, we're good friends, and we've done several projects together that have thinking out of the box necessary, and done some really fun things together. So yeah, that's the group. We've done a lot of tinkering, as it said in the paper.
Yeah. So I first heard about this story actually through some friends up in Glasgow, Montana, northeast Montana, because they said, "Hey, check this out. This group of doctors down in Billings, they kind of came up with this idea where you could basically make these filters for these protective masks, and then you could make them out of 3D printers. So they have 3D printers at the schools in Glasgow, and they're using your design to print up these masks for their hospital workers. And it's just huge because they were really getting worried about what they were going to do.
Yeah, I think that's the real story here is the community of communities throughout Montana have really embraced this. I think everybody wants to get involved and do something to help, and they are. It's been a wonderful response. Downloads are just flying, and people are printing away.
How many are you able to track the number of downloads and the locations of downloads? What are some of the numbers and what are some of the locations you're seeing these masks get plans get downloaded at?
Well, I can't track locations, and I don't have the numbers right in front of me as far as downloads. But total downloads was close to approaching 5,000. And when people have them, they share them with their friends' email, and it's also on Billings Clinic's website as well. So to track the total number of downloads is really difficult. But I do know that we're getting feedback, particularly one in Scotland was very interesting. They sent a picture of their mask. They printed it in red, and they said, "It works great. We're so pleased. Going to print 10 more today," and so it seems to be a little bit more far-reaching than just Billings.
Yeah. So how did this whole idea start? How did you come up with this idea to create these 3D printed face masks or face mask filters, basically?
Yeah. So Dr. Richardson, Dusty Richardson, he's a neurosurgeon, works at Billings Clinic, and he got off work one evening and called me up. Says, we're just getting critically short. I'm afraid we're gonna be too short as this passes through us. And so he said, what we need to do is let's do a 3D printed mask. And from there we got together, the three of us, and put together designs and it took a while. This was just last week, and so each time you do a design, you let it print, and then you understand that you need to change a few things. So you change them, and then you print another, and we don't know until another 2 to 3 hours. So it took a little while, but by Sunday morning we had a good version of the mask, and let that get passed along. So
it's really just a cool story. Yeah, it's a cool story about, hey, this doctor comes to you and your son, you're both dentists, as I understand it, but yet you've got your own 3D printers and you like working on design, so you really fine-tuned this design to crank these things out. So how would you describe the mask? Or the filter system that you guys created with the 3D printer? Right.
So I do need to verify or clarify. My son Colton graduated from college, but he is a microbiologist.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's his degree, and he's also a designer by hobby. But so what the deal was is we have a certain amount of masks, and our first idea was to see what we can do to multiply the supply. So as we designed it, we thought, okay, we can cut these masks that we currently have into patches or to cartridges or little segments, and we can get 6 to 8 per mask, and then put them into the 3D for the filter part of the mask. And so effectively multiplying whatever people have on stock by 6 to 8 times.
Really honored this morning to be chatting with Dr. Spencer Zaugg, a Billings, Montana dentist who came up with this idea that's now getting national attention, international attention, and they're figuring out a way through a creation of their own that they created on a 3D printer here in Montana to help address this mask shortfall. Dr. Zaugg, how much of an impact do you think this could be having already?
I think it's going to be very significant. Doctors at the Billings Clinic are already starting to wear them, and the school district 1 has put all their printers to work, and they're starting to come on in, and it's going to make a very significant difference, and especially where you hear reports from other parts of the country that are just there is absolutely no masks and no protection. They're wearing bandanas, and this is definitely something that they can benefit from. And the nice thing that they're reusable and that they can be cleansed. They can sprayed off with hospital disinfectants often, and the filters can be changed. So it's going to make a difference.
And I understand there's libraries across the state that have 3D printers that can start doing this. Like I mentioned, some schools in northeastern Montana are doing this, some private sector businesses. In fact, I have a doctor friend out in Massachusetts. He had a picture of himself with a mask, and he was talking about the urgency of maybe invoking the Defense Production Act to force manufacture these masks. And I just think it's interesting that, well, I guess the government could force companies to manufacture these old masks, or hey, we've got great innovators like yourself who, and we may need that too. I'm not saying we don't necessarily need that, but I also think that it's just part of the greatness of America that here we have these innovators and these entrepreneurs who just think outside the box and come up with a new mask, especially when we were so dependent on China for a lot of these masks initially, which is why we started noticing this shortfall even before the pandemic really seemed to be impacting America.
Yeah, it's good to do that. It's interesting that you think you'd want a big company, and that would be great, but it's the little ground efforts, the individual efforts that make a big wave, and that's what we're seeing in many towns. Speaking of American companies, we actually did team up with High Tech Filters here in Billings, and because masks are still going to be in short supply, so how are we going to put the filters in the masks that we're printing? And so they have basically reprogrammed their whole business, and are making these, and their goal is 1,000. A minute, or 1,000 an hour. It's really extraordinarily fast, and they're getting inundated with calls as well. So
that's remarkable. So you're helping another Montana company, right there.
Yeah, another Montana company, and in the U.S., which I think is a marvelous thing. And I misspoke. It was school district 2 that's been doing it, but all schools throughout Montana are just responding and doing a great job.
Yeah, that's incredible. So you guys come up with this idea. Now you're working with another production company here in Montana to crank out 1,000 an hour of these things. Yeah, because I saw in that CNN report that you had worked with that company in particular to kind of make some modifications to the masks and work with a HEPA style filtration system, something to that effect. And so you're fine tuning it even as we speak and cranking these things out. What's something else that I didn't ask you about that you think folks across Montana would be interested in hearing about?
Yeah, I think you covered it pretty well. I think there's a lot of sometimes misinformation out there. They're not N95 rated currently. That is our goal. We're having tests done and modifying it, but now they're rated as a general surgery mask, and they're approved for that. And that in itself is amazing and marvelous. So
that's huge. Well, it's pretty incredible to be a part of that. Dr. Spencer Zaugg, thanks so much for joining us here on the show.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, great to chat with you. Thanks for taking some busy time out too. In fact, actually, Doctor, are you still there?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to ask you one more question. How's your dental business? Have you been pretty impacted by all of this as well? Just how has it impacted you as a dentist also?
Well, that's actually a really good question. So we are, by the recommendation of the ADA and the governor, we're shut down for 3 weeks. We are not doing elective cases, hygiene and fillings and so forth. We're open for, and I think all dentists are open for the emergency, urgent cases to keep people out of the ER, to not inundate them. But I think the underlying reason for that is that there's not enough PPE, personal protective equipment, such as the masks. We want to save those for the doctors, and so physicians that are treating these patients. So it does impact our business, but now because of that, we had time on our hands to do this.